Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August 28th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I am good. I almost want to say great, but I don't know. Lots going on. It's been a very interesting weekend into a Monday. So we'll just kind of start from where I left you off. How about that, maybe? Let's see. Sunday, yes, Sunday. I wrapped up, hung out, for a little bit, and I caved to my pizza craving, and I went and got some Little Caesars pizza. I kept it simple, just got a large pepperoni. It was hot and ready, so we had no complaints. We love that. And let's see here. I did get a little, it was just a normal pepperoni pizza. I literally added like 2 or 3 pieces of banana peppers, and just to get a little bit of flavoring. I just bought them, so I was like, yes, I'm gonna use these today. I don't care. So I had that, but as I got home, a friend hit me up, and they were like, hey, you want to hang out? You want to go for a cruise? Now, if you don't know what a cruise is, as what, pertains to me in my life, that's okay. I don't feel like explaining it, but, you can kind of do some context clues. Think about the host. What does the host like to do in their time? You can figure it out. So yeah, I was like, okay, let's do that. I haven't done that in years. So let me eat this fucking pizza, and then, we'll meet up and do that. So we did, and it actually was a bit of a curveball. I didn't expect it. But we cruised. We were doing a little smoke, and ethical smoke session. That's what we'll call it. And that was fun on the way. But they're like, hey, since we don't really have anywhere to go or hang out, there's no destination. I have a spot. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, you just have to walk a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm a walking kind of guy. I've been known to do a little walking. And so we wound up going to this park that I'd never been to, which was nice, and hit this little trail. Had to put the Crocs in sport mode, but we did okay. We were fine. I didn't fall and break my ass, so that was cool. That was fun. And we got to sit out, I don't know if you would call it an enclave or whatever, but it was this place that you could sit and you could just see a little stream or something like that. It was nice, a little babbling brook action. So that was a vibe. That was cool. I really enjoyed my Sunday. It was a good time. Friendship. It was real neat. Then bonus on the good, I weighed myself today, and I am finally hitting, I think since the first time since 2019, yeah. I hit 270, and I'm down from 280, 283, 284. So I'm I joy cried today. It was a lot, because Lord hoping I keep this up. But I started this while I was podcasting, so you guys have been kind of along the journey this far. It's been a very interesting summer, and I'm just happy to see my little work pay off. I didn't put too much here. I said, hey, I'm just going to scale things back a little bit. It's not even a diet. So it's nice that I've gotten some work in. And hey, maybe that hike even helped work out the pizza. So I'm definitely not even mad about that. Overall, it's just been really good. Also, another thing I've been doing, this is, I guess you could say, the bad part, but it's still good, is I've been doing this thing where I kind of realize I'm in a cycle with myself personally and some of my friendships, some of my relationship dynamics, whatever, where I'm being a little too meek. I'm being a little too quiet. And what's happening for me is I've noticed oh man, I'm becoming this really petty, indirect, passive aggressive person. And I say becoming, but really I'm switching back to that, because I always have that mode. And I'm okay, Isaiah, you gotta stop. You gotta stop with this. This is bad for your health. It's bad for your mentality. It's bad for your mental, So I'm trying to address shit more. I'm trying to call shit out more. You know what I mean? Even if it's little shit, because I know how that little shit can stack and stack and stack and stack and stack. And next thing I know, I have this huge grievance with a person who doesn't even know. They don't even get it. And then I have to try to break it down with them, and I'm it probably sounds like I'm arguing over like granola crumbs or something to them, but like to me, it's like, no, this is like been like piling up, piling up, piling up. I hate you now. So I'm trying to do better with that. And it's been good, at least good for me, and I'll take that. I probably could work on my delivery a little bit better, but sometimes you just gotta get it out, get it off your chest. And I think that if they're your friends and they're your people, and once again, you're not coming at them like too crazy, too wild, you're just calling shit out, you're addressing a thing, then I think it should go well. And if it doesn't go well, then that's a sign that you need to get out of that. So yeah, that's life as we know it as of this Monday. Overall, things have been good, been fun. So yeah, I'll take it. All right, we're kind of going a little long already on the intro. I'm sorry about it. Had to get a little real there. I'm gonna do another smoke break. I feel like I could say that. I just don't want to get clapped by YouTube. I've already gotten one strike, y'all. That's why I'm like this. Okay, that's why I'm built like this. Okay. I guess while we're killing time before we get into the real news, I'll do a little update on Rubiales, our Spanish president misogynist. His mother has now taken to the chapel, and she's on hunger strike until this all gets resolved, until they stop this witch hunt against her boy. So that's happening. I don't know, man. Shit's wild. World's crazy. All right, let's get into the news I wanted to talk about today, though. From Reuters, Zimbabwe's president declared election winner. Opposition rejects result. Zimbabwe's Elections Commission said late on Saturday that incumbent Emmerson Mnangagwa had won this week's presidential election with roughly 53% of the vote. But the opposition and analysts immediately questioned the result. Mnangagwa, who took over from longtime leader Robert Mugabe after the 2017 coup, was widely expected to secure re-election for a second term, as analysts said the contest was heavily skewed in favor of the ZANU-PF party, which has been in power for more than 4 decades. The challenger was the Zimbabwe. I'm sorry. The ZEC is Mnangagwa's party, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. But his challenger, excuse me, was Nelson Chamisa, who leads the opposition's Citizens Coalition for Change, or the CCC. Excuse me. Their party secured about 44% of the presidential vote. Now, the ZANU-PF, which is Mnangagwa's party, they started like celebrating early, cheering, saying like, "Hey, we won." And the CCCs was like, "Yo, that's like very suspect. Like, how are they saying that without any like kind of paper verification?" And they also added that in places that like voting was literally being suppressed, that people weren't allowed to vote, that, in terms of like forming rallies and shit like that, it was very hard and or not allowed. Like, you'd have to ask police and stuff like that, and like they were just dragging their feet. So there is definitely talks of voter corruption, suppression. But I mean, my speculation is that things are going to shake out a lot of the way of, we've talked about this before with Turkey, with President Erdogan. He wound up winning out, even though it definitely felt like he shouldn't have won out, but there were just literally so many things baked in his favor because he was the incumbent and he had all the power, and you literally are making and flowing all of the rules. So like, I agree with Nelson's party saying like, hey, something's wrong here. Like, there's just something wrong. Also, he's run before in the previous election, and echoed similar statements as this one, but it was upheld by Parliament. So, I don't know. I hate when I hear of elections that are not fair, that are skewed, that are corrupt. It's very frustrating, when we're talking about fucking democracy and it's not being a fair democratic event. You know what I mean? And I look at my country. It's one of those things where we have a very great system set up. It obviously has its fucking flaws. It's not fucking perfect, but it does work. And we have people who are literally trying to rip down the doors of fucking presidential buildings over this shit because their guy didn't win. But it sucks that when it's not that, like when it's more than my guy didn't win, you actually can see it and you can trace it, you can show it. Like, we should be allowed to do these things, and we weren't allowed. Yet the president's party, the incumbent party, was. Like, these things are fucked up and unfair. But at the same time, when you are the incumbent, when you are literally making the rules, they just wind up being allowed. They wind up getting floated through. It's very sad. It's very upsetting. And I sadly kind of wind up looking at it as like, yeah, man, I see your point, but the dude won. Like, maybe it's not a democracy. Sure, I agree. Maybe this just feels fake. I completely get that. I completely understand that. So, yeah, sadly, we're starting off with a little bit of a bummer, but, it is what it is. It is news that is happening. But speaking of elections, a bit of another side note. I know in Ecuador, they are doing their runoff. I'm still waiting on that to happen. That's why I really haven't talked about it or done any coverage on it. But hopefully when that election comes to fruition, we'll cover that. All right, let's move along. We're going back to Florida. Not a shooting, but sadly more death. Also, something I did want to add, speaking of Florida and the Jacksonville shooting, I did find the names of the people. Also, I had missed the part about the guy putting swastikas on his gun. Just as a reminder, sometimes I will put notes or updates in episodes, or just corrections, what have you. I do try to get them on the main when I can, when I feel like it's plausible, makes sense, whatever. But, sometimes I just put it there. So, I'll, sometimes just check that out. I know I don't really do good bios. A lot of times I'm just fucking talking fresh, but whatever, sometimes I do add more shit to it. But yeah, Florida, from the Associated Press. A rescue helicopter crashed into a Florida apartment complex, killing fire captain and a resident. A medical rescue helicopter caught fire and broke apart shortly after takeoff Monday before crashing into an apartment complex near Fort Lauderdale, killing a paramedic captain on board and a resident on the ground. 2 others on board and 2 other people of the apartment complex were injured. Let's see, the fire rescue captain, Terryson Jackson, 49 years old, and a woman died when the Broward Sheriff's Office helicopter crashed through the complex roof after taking off from Pompano Beach Air Park at about 8:45 a.m. He said the 4 injured were taken to the hospital and are expected to survive. Jackson was a 19-year veteran of the department. He's given high praise in this article. It's also added that this doesn't look like there was any kind of operator error. It looks like that shortly after taking off, you could see black plumes of smoke and fire coming out of the helicopter, and they were just trying to literally survive at that point, and I imagine try to land the helicopter despite this malfunction. Oh, and also that the dead woman's name hasn't been released because they were in the process of being notified at the time of this article and when the statement was being made. So that's why her name is not here in this article. But yeah, they add to that even as this was happening, they radio into paramedics and say, hey, you have to get the the person that we're coming to get. You have to send them. You have to get them to the hospital via ambulance or something like that because we are not able, because obviously we are going through this right now. And I like them adding that for the record because it does show that, look, even in these moments as they were fighting for their lives, their last moments, they're look, our job is to still make sure that the the patient, the person who needs our help, gets to where they need to go. And that's our priority first and foremost as they're fighting for their fucking lives. So, yeah, like, it's fucking sad. It's a fucking bummer. These dudes, they suit up just to try to do the best they can for the community, and it sucks like something like this happens and then they wind up having to be rescued and things like that. So, my condolences goes out to all the people involved in that. And also, I cannot fucking imagine a fucking helicopter crashing through your apartment complex Donnie Darko style. Like I'm just thinking about that out loud, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy as hell. So obviously, to the the person who died, the person who passed away, like, I can't imagine that as your Monday fucking morning. Yeah, that's a crazy one. Let's move along though. From CNN, 1 teen killed, 4 people injured following shooting at Oklahoma high school football game, authorities say. A 16-year-old boy was killed and 4 others were injured in a shooting at a high school football game in Choctaw, Oklahoma. The teenager, whose name has not been released, was shot Friday night, according to a news release from Choctaw Police Department. Authorities said he was not a student at either of the schools playing in the football game. The shooting happened during the third quarter of a Choctaw High School game against Dell City High School. Shots were fired on the visitor side of the stadium, and authorities believe an argument started between at least 2 males that led to the shooting. Then there was a 42-year-old man who sustained a gunshot wound to the chest and was taken to the hospital, where he underwent surgery and is in stable condition. There was a woman who was shot in the thigh, and 2 others who are believed to be students that sustained broken wrists and a broken leg while trying to leave the area. It's crazy that they were able to perform like life-saving efforts against the man, like on the scene, like at the game, and then on top of the surgery, he was able to live. That's great. But obviously it's very sad that a person who's just showing up to the game, just hanging out for vibes. I remember being a kid going to my school games and just hanging out, like I didn't give a shit about the game. I was like under the bleachers doing fucking hood rat shit or whatever. Walking around saying what's up to my friends on a Friday night or whatever. It was just chill shit. So it's a shame that this just all fucking goes down and there's literally loss of life. One thing I wanted to add too before we move on, just keeping a track of the fucking count here. There have been at least 471 mass shootings in the United States so far in 2023, according to the Gun Violence Archive. Which, like CNN, defines a mass shooting in which 4 or more people are injured and or killed, not including the shooter. We're just calling these mass shootings. We're not just talking about people who have died by gun violence. Just for the fucking record there. I just want to leave that there. Talk about that before we talk about our last fucking sad thing that's also going to make me upset. I know, it's been a lot of hard cases. I'm real sorry about it. Sometimes that's the news. Also, how the things kind of drop down. It bees like that. But yeah, we got one more thing to cover, and then I'll let you go. Get you your lasagna. Ooh-wee. Oh. Okay. Our last one is also from the Associated Press. Police in Ohio fatally shot a pregnant shoplifting suspect. Whew. Good old Ohio news coming through, I suppose. Police in a Columbus suburb fatally shot a pregnant woman in an Ohio supermarket parking lot after she accelerated her car towards an officer, police officials said. Takia Young, 21 years old, of Columbus, died Thursday evening in Blendon. A supermarket employee told officers who were at the store on an unrelated matter that multiple people were fleeing from the store with stolen items. Blendon Police Chief John Belford said. That included Young, who had allegedly taken multiple bottles of alcohol. One officer went to the driver's side of Young's car and told her to stop, while the other officer moved in front of the vehicle. Young then put the car in gear and accelerated forward. The officer directly in the vehicle's path fired one shot in the front windshield. Young's car then traveled about 50 feet before coming to a stop on the sidewalk outside of the store. She was pronounced dead a short time later. Young was due to give birth in November. Her family told the Columbus Dispatch her unborn daughter did not survive the shooting. Young was the mother of two sons, ages 6 and 3 years old. Now, I know how this shit is going to probably shake out. First, I got to add these two officers. They haven't released the names of them yet. They haven't released the body cam footage, which there is yet. They are on paid administrative leave. So, most likely, my skepticism says that they are not going to see any kind of trial, any kind of backlash. People are just going to be upset and they're just going to be asked to move on. And I'm sure there's going to be people on the other side of the conversation saying this was completely justified and fine. These cops were just protecting and serving. What's the problem? My issue is what I've talked about with shoplifting time and time again. When I talk about any of these fucking minor grievances more times than not that are escalated into someone being publicly fucking executed. It doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to happen. And I get it. Did Young make the mistake of being like, oh, I'm boxed in here and I need to now drive past this cop now to get out of here or drive through him? And is that wrong? Yes, I get that. That is also wrong. You're putting someone else's life in danger over some bottles. It's not worth it on either side of the conversation at this fucking point. For sure. But why does the cop get in front to do this shit? You will find this motherfucker. You have, once again, in this situation, you have a license plate, you have a body, you know exactly what the fuck, you're not even here for this shit. It's extracurricular shit that you are putting your life on the line for. And you're like, yep, well, I mean, now that my life's on the line, I gotta fight for it, and you pull the trigger and kill someone. Like, this did not need to happen, period. I don't care what you say. I don't care. I don't hear you. I'm sorry. And it sucks that because of once there's crime slapped on top of this, all of a sudden a person doesn't matter anymore, and it's like, you can just pull the trigger, you just fucking kill him. It's them or you. Like, but it's like, no, it never had to be this way. It never fucking did. It is some bottles of alcohol. There are other people who made it out. So now what? Like, you still get a fucking F for effort, dog. I don't get it. I don't fucking understand, and I never fucking will, dude. And I say this shit and I get so mad because, like, I just always will when I hear these stories and I think about this shit. But I also know that, like, these kind of stories, I have friends and people who listen, and I get it, whatever. We all come from different walks of life and think different things. But, like, I've had people be like, no, well, like, this is a criminal we're talking about. Like, as if they just deserve to die now. Like, I've had to field comments like that from, like, my friends, and that shit fucking sucks, too, on top of it. So, yeah, I tense up when I get these stories. I get upset. I get mad. I get very uncomfortable. But I'm not going to stop talking about them. I'm going to keep covering them. So yeah, that's how I feel. I don't know. I don't have anything else to fucking say here. Shit sucks. But that's all we got. That's the episode. If you'd like to help and support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. You do become a newsie, I will shout you out at the top of the month. That's coming up soon. And then I plug a project that you're on. Well, let's see. Free ways to hit me up. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. You can send feedback. Hopefully it's positive. Hopefully it's not weird, cringe comments like, what I referenced earlier. Yeah, feel free to do that. Also, you can comment on the socials. Either, on my page or the podcast page, whatever. I'm on everywhere you're probably on, whatever, unless you're on fucking Mastodon or something weird. I'm not doing that. I can't walk with you there. It's too much. But you can find me. Feel free to say hello. We love that. Feel free to talk about news. I love talking about news. Even if it is like point counterpoint shit, I do like it. But if you are trying to debate me, that's like $5. Don't do that. Let's see. Ways to help out. Subscribe to that YouTube, please. That helps. I'm trying to get those numbers up. And thumbs up are good. All the stars, max them out. It really helped out a lot. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.